Hi everyone, hola. My name is Jonathan, and today we're going to be looking at a live Spanish lesson. So a little bit of an introduction for getting people started with uh, beginning Spanish. And so I'm going to put a few slides here just to get started. So I'll just double check if you can see my screen. And let me get here. Just a second here. So let me just make sure if you can see on the, no, let me go back here. Ah, here it is. Okay. So you can see this screen. Okay. I think that should be going to the screen. Yeah, I think you can see the screen here. Okay. So sorry for this, just switching back and forth. Okay. So beginning Spanish here. I think we have a learner joining us. Is this Tatiana?
Yes.
Hi,
Hola.
hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola.
Hola.
Más o menos bien.
Good, good. Okay. So let's go back to the presentation here. Okay. So we're gonna get started with beginning Spanish, and so can you see the screen?
Sí.
Okay.
Sí.
Yeah. See, and can you see the next one?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so for those of you who may not know me, ¿quién soy? Who am I? Who's Jonathan? I'm an American teacher from Southern California. I've been studying foreign languages for about 20, 21 years now. I got started back in 1995 with Spanish in my first year of high school, and it took 4 years of Spanish. And then I started tutoring Spanish, high school students and university students in California. I visited Mexico City for the first time in 2001. So it was like 15 years ago, and I stayed here for about 2.5 months. And then I made other trips on and off, like 2000, 2001 again, 2002, 2004, 2007, and then finally I moved here in 2008, and I've been living here for the last 8 years. My wife is a French Mexican, and I have 2 kids who are. So I have a son and a daughter, and they speak to me in Spanish. So I'm constantly exposed to Spanish on a daily basis here, and even correcting my kids Spanish because they make some mistakes with their pronunciation and with their conjugations. So I've been with Spanish for the last 20, 21 years. I guess over half my life. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy to have a foreign language that I've spent half my life dedicated to. Okay, so we're going to get into what we're looking at here of kind of basics of what is the A1 level of the CEF. So the CEF is the Common European Framework reference for the European languages, and this is a kind of a standard model for teaching languages, what skills, what aptitudes students usually achieve at the A1 level, which is like the beginning level. So this is being able to make themselves understood, answering basic questions, providing some personal details, talking, like they can understand if somebody is talking slowly and clearly. They can carry on a very limited conversation, and they can probably give some short answers, although they probably have to study, look for some words or hesitate while preparing what they're saying. And here's another description as well about familiar topics, maybe some basic communication, introducing oneself, and again, asking questions about personal details, where he or she lives, or the people they know, like family or friends, and the things that they do or like to do. So that's what we're going to get started with on here. So we're going to get into a basic introduction. So introducing ourselves. So the first thing you could say in like informal speech is hola, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal is kind of a basic greeting, like a, hey, what's up? How's it going? Most of the time when I hear it spoken, it's not so much that you're actually requesting somebody to respond back. It's kind of just like a hello, how are things? In another lesson, we'll get into like the how are you and some of those answers, more detail for that. And then like what our name is, me llamo Jonathan, and asking the other person, you could say, ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? If you are introducing a friend to somebody, or a friend who's a girl, you say, te presento a mi amigo, te presento a mi amiga. This is a way of like, this is my friend, or I'd like to introduce you to my friend. And you could talk about, if somebody had friends, you could say, what is his or her name? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? So, but if you're talking to the person directly, you say, ¿Cómo te llamas? And they would answer, me llamo, with probably their first name. If you're talking about your friend, if you like are introducing them, you say, okay, I'd like to introduce you to my friend. His name is se llama, or I'd like you to introduce you to my friend who's a girl, and I could say her name is se llama. And basically, when you meet each other, probably shake hands or something, or give each other a kiss on the cheek or something like that. You probably say mucho gusto, which is nice to meet you. And you might start asking questions like, where are you from, or where do you live? So soy de is I'm from. Soy de, for example, me, soy de los Estados Unidos. And I could ask somebody, where are you from? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? And you'd answer, I'm from. So it could be from a city, from a country, from a region. And where you live could be vivo en. So notice that, like, at least in the Mexican Spanish that I've been learning, the V is actually more like a B, a bilabial B, not the like an F with the vibration. It's not Z, but more like B. So vivo en, so vivo en la Ciudad de Mexico. I live in Mexico City. And I can ask somebody, ¿Dónde vives? If I happen to be from and live in the same place, I could use y, meaning and. So soy de los Estados Unidos y vivo en California. Or if there's a contrast, like I could use pero, like but. Soy de los Estados Unidos, pero vivo en Mexico. Like I'm from the United States, but I live in Mexico. So those are a couple basics here. Tatiana, are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay, so how about we practice a little bit here?
Mhm.
Hola.
Hola. Hola. Hola. Oh, hola.
Hola. Hola.
Hola.
Hola.
Hola.
¿Qué tal?
Hola. Muy bien.
Cool, cool. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Tatiana.
Mucho gusto.
¿Y cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Jonathan.
Ah, mucho gusto
Mucho
también.
gusto. Mucho gusto también, sí. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de Rusia.
¿Y dónde vives?
Vivo en Siberia, en
Mm,
Omsk.
ok.
Ujú. ¿Y tú? Oh, ¿de dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos.
¿Y dónde vives?
Ahora, now,
Ujú,
vivo en la Ciudad de México.
ujú. Bien.
Okay. Yeah.
Ujú,
So you were using exactly a like E2.
ujú.
That's you could that's yeah, you could definitely do that if you were just repeating the same question. So actually I might add that here. Um, just E2. It's just like and you.
Ujú,
And you could use a as you said here, mucho gusto like también. So this would be also as well. I'll just add those on here. Okay. Let's move on to maybe next thing. Once you've introduced yourselves, I mean, the conversation doesn't just stop there.
ujú,
So
ujú,
it'll
ujú,
keep going. We'll get into some conversation starters. So for example, here, hacer. ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Like what do you like to do? And we have a couple of these pictures here related to some of these activities. Me gusta leer. Me gusta viajar. Me gusta mirar películas, me gusta escuchar música, me gusta hacer ejercicio, cocinar. So those could be reading, traveling, watching movies, listening to music, uh, doing exercise or practicing sports, uh, cooking. And specifically, if you want to carry on that conversation a step further, maybe it's not just like, well, what do you like to do? But maybe once they say, like to read, you could say, well, what do you like to read? ¿Qué te gusta leer? And you could apply this to some other verbs that could take objects, like transitive verbs, like mirar or escuchar or cocinar. So you could ask, what do you like to watch? What do you like to listen to? What do you like to cook? Working with a native speaker, they could develop their answer a little bit and you could learn some new vocabulary passively. So in terms of what I like to read, me gustan novelas y cuentos. Notice that this letter N is on here because I'm dealing with multiple things. Literally, when we use this me gusta, me gustan, it's kind of something pleases me. So the activity pleases me, or these multiple things please me. So it's kind of conjugated in terms of what is it that's pleasing me. So here it's novels and stories please me, as opposed to cooking pleases me. So that you notice in the English like difference of pleases and please. So here me gusta cocinar and me gusta leer and me gustan novelas y cuentos. I ask somebody, where do you like to travel? ¿A dónde te gusta viajar? And because we're learning Spanish here, me gusta viajar por España. I like to travel around Spain. In terms of movies, well, what movies do you like? So again, we have this letter N because we're looking at movies in the plural. Películas te gustan. Me gustan películas de aventura. So like adventure movies, action movies. ¿Qué deportes practicas? Practicas, sorry. So what sports do you practice? Me gusta jugar tenis. So we have a little bit of a tennis ball there on kind of a clay court. And what is your favorite music? ¿Cuál es tu música preferida? Me encanta el jazz y el rock. So me encanta is a way of like I love. Like it's not just I like something, I love it. And again, we could add a letter N if I wanted to say I love novels and yeah, actually this should be me encantan. Sorry, that's a small mistake. It's a little typo here. I'm just double checking this. Sorry. Okay, so me encantan el jazz y el rock because there are multiple things. So like me gustan novelas y cuentos. So me encantan el jazz y el rock. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about what you like, Tatiana? ¿Qué te gusta hacer?
Me gusta leer, me gusta hacer deporte, me gusta correr,
Okay.
me gusta escuchar música, me encantan.
¿Qué música? ¿Qué música te gusta?
Me gustan el pop, el rock,
Okay,
no sé.
okay.
Ujú. Me gusta mirar películas, películas, no sé, películas.
Películas, okay.
Ujú.
Películas en español, películas en inglés.
Y, me gustan películas en inglés, en
Okay.
español, en ruso. Ujú,
Muy bien. Muy bien.
ujú.
¿Y, ¿Y qué deportes practicas? ¿Corres? ¿Corres?
Practico corro, ¿no?
Corro.
Corro. Practico, corro
Uh,
dos. Ujú,
not so much.
ujú,
To say I run, you could just say I run. You know, and so you need to say I practice. I run.
ujú.
If it's official,
Yo
like name
corro.
of a
Ujú,
sport, I
ujú,
practice football. I practice tennis. I practice basketball.
ujú.
But run, it's a bit more than just the verb I run. So
Me,
corro.
me, me gusta correr.
Yeah, me gusta
Practico,
correr.
practico correr,
Um,
¿no?
no, I think
Practico.
just me gusta correr or corro. Corro. I
Corro.
run.
Me gusta corro.
Me gusta
Corro.
correr. Me gusta correr.
Ujú. Me gusta correr.
Ujú. ¿Y a dónde te gusta correr? Like where do you like to run?
Me gusta correr en el estadio.
Oh, okay. Sí, muy bien. En el estadio.
Ujú.
En el parque.
Ah, en el estadio de una escuela
Ujú. Oh, okay, muy bien. Muy bien.
cerca de mi casa. Ujú.
Ujú. Okay. ¿Y te gusta leer, dijiste? You said you like to read.
Sí, me gusta leer libros y revistas.
Ujú. So
No sé. Ujú.
te gustan
Me
libros
gustan
y
libros.
revistas.
Ujú.
Ujú.
Me gustan. Me gustan.
Okay. Muy bien. Okay. Good. So as you notice on here, not only I put some of these words with like in bold and underlined, this is to
Ujú.
help looking at some of the word stress. So we're going to look at this in this next slide. Spanish has 3 predictable rules for determining the word stress here. So this is kind of yes, no questions until we get to just this kind of a flow. For example, película, música. If that's the case, that is where you stress the word. An accent mark in Spanish means that that is where the word stress is, or the tonic stress. If it doesn't have a word stress, then we have to look at the last letter of the word. If it's a letter S or N or a vowel like A, E, I, O, U, then we stress the next to last syllable, or the penultimate, if you prefer. So España, gusta, gustan, deporte, deportes, tenis. So here I have a vowel sound a. I have letter M. Here I have the letter S, and here I have the letter S as well. So basically, if you have a verb later when it's conjugated, and then you add the N or the S, it's not going to change where the stress is. So these S and N and the vowel, those are very basic for conjugations in Spanish. And as a result, these create some predictable stress patterns here. And if it isn't S, N, or a vowel sound, then we stress the last syllable or the final syllable. So examples could be infinitives like escuchar, hablar, canal, see, adjectives like feliz. So if I were feliz, so like almost like a TH sound in English. So once you learn these three rules, this accounts for basically about 80% of other patterns where it isn't exactly the last or second to last, or maybe like 3 syllables back. There might be some other stress, but yeah, these are the these rules that will get you like a predictable pattern for Spanish words. Do you have any questions on this, Tatiana?
No.
Okay. So how long have you been studying Spanish?
I've been learning Spanish for almost 1 year.
Okay. Had you seen these rules before?
No.
Okay.
It's very useful for me now, just to refresh.
Oh, cool.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think like I didn't see these rules for quite a lot of several years until I'd been studying the language. When I started to teach it a little bit, tutor it, or even a couple years after I started tutoring it, I came across this in a book one time, and then now I see this in many books. But pronunciation is usually something a little frustrating for beginning students. So here in this case, for the Spanish language, it's a bit more predictable, and even to the point that I end up using these stress patterns when I learn new foreign languages. It can be a little frustrating because I've just listened to them so frequently living here in Mexico that when I speak Russian or learn another language like Greek, for example, so they have different patterns. But okay, just one last time to go through some of these introductions. So you want to repeat? Sure.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
¿Qué tal?
¿Qué tal? Me
Yeah.
llamo. ¿Cómo te llamas? Te presento a mi amigo, a mi amiga. Se llama. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Y tú? Mucho gusto. También. Soy de. ¿De dónde eres? Vivo en. ¿Dónde vives? Pero. Y.
Okay. And then these conversational questions.
¿Qué te gusta hacer? ¿Qué te gusta leer? ¿A dónde te gusta viajar? ¿Qué películas te gustan? ¿Qué deportes practicas? ¿Cuál es tu música preferida?
Good. Yeah.
Me gusta leer, me gusta viajar, me gusta mirar películas, me gusta escuchar música, me gusta hacer ejercicio, me gusta cocinar, me gustan novelas y cuentos, Me gusta viajar por España. Me gustan películas de aventura. Me gusta jugar tenis. Me encantan el jazz y el rock.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Muy bien. So,
Gracias.
so I would say in the Facebook group, I'll post a link in the YouTube video. For those who may not be already a part of the group, you can join us and you can practice more of your Spanish. And I would also recommend using a speaking recorder. I'll put this here in case somebody doesn't know this. This HTTP speakpipe.com/voice recorder. And here you can very easily record yourself. It just connects to your webcam microphone or microphone on your smartphone or computer. And you can record yourself for a minute or two and then upload this to their server. And you could get a link to your audio file. And you can share this in the Facebook group and practice some of these expressions that we've used today and present yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe look up some new vocabulary. You could go to Word Reference. This is a really good website for a dictionary, wordreference.com. And you could also even use Wiktionary is another one that I like to use, .org. And you can find some words there and even see how a verb is conjugated or see how like a noun is like in a plural. It's a really good website for that. So you could put together a couple of sentences. And obviously on Italki.com, you could practice using in the community section. You could use the notebook entries. So if you want to practice introducing yourself and using some of the expressions, you could write a short text and native speakers can correct your Spanish. So, and if you do that, if you get a notebook entry, paste that in the Facebook group, or even paste a link to your notebook entry as a YouTube comment, along with maybe your SpeakPipe link. So native speakers and other learners can give you some feedback on your pronunciation and also maybe on your writing. So thank you very much for watching this brief lesson. I'm just going to end my screen share here. And thank you. Muchas gracias, Tatiana, for joining me in this lesson. And I'll be in touch for questions and feedback on audio and pronunciation and the writing. So take care. Hasta luego. Buena semana. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.